What's up, guys? Today we have a video about the clan event coming up tomorrow, May 6th. It's going through the 27th, and there's going to be a whole bunch of rewards in the shop for participating in this event. The whole idea of the event is unlike the last one. Last one was kind of horrible. It's just the amount of platoon victories each clan got was totaled. Top clan was first place, and so on. I think like the top 3 or the top 5 got the Ritter. And there was a bunch of other awards sprinkled in there. There's a whole bunch of controversy, some rigging that went on, some accounts banned. This is going to be so much better because you're only completing, from what I understand, you're only completing missions, clan missions, daily and weekly with a person in a platoon. So once you complete the missions for the week, which isn't that hard to do, you're done. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to play a bunch of games. People aren't going to be sweating over it and rigging. So this is a much more relaxed, laid-back event with the new bat chat is going to be available, the Ritter, the 1357, and the 50 TP. And in this video, I'm going to show gameplay of the 50 TP prototype and the Ritter. So here are the stats. I'm going to scroll through these real quick. And I'm just going to say while we're looking at this, the Bat Chat, the Ritter, and the 50 TP are amazing tanks. The Bat Chat isn't out yet, so I haven't played it, but just from its stats, it looks super good. The Ritter is incredible. It has higher DPM than the Tech Tree Waffenträger. So even when the Tech Tree one's running the 128, it's just straight up better. Highly recommended if you like that play style. 50 TP is just a super aggressive, very nice heavy tank. We'll get into these specifics when I play them. 1357 is just straight up a meme. It's really fun to play, not super effective. You'll feel like you're doing a ton, getting a lot of shots out, creating a bunch of crossfires, and you'll look at the damage counter, it'll be at like 2,000. You're like, oh, whatever. This tank it's fun, but you don't actually get results with it. If you want to result with a tier 7 light tank that's an autoloader, just run a T71 or a 1375. It's just a better tank. The Tech Tree one, 3 shots, same amount of damage. You don't have to be exposed to take 6 shots. So what you need to do, I already explained that. You just complete clan missions with people in a platoon. You get these clan tickets. You go to the store. And what I'm assuming is there's going to be a list of these tanks in the store for clan tickets, and you can buy them. Bat Chat's probably going to be the most expensive, then the Ritter, then the 50 TP, then the 1357 is how I think it's going to go. I don't know how expensive any of them are going to be or how much grinding you're going to have to do, but that's the event coming up. This should be pretty fun. If you're not in a clan, join one. These are free tanks. They're really good tanks, other than the 1357, but again, it's super fun to play, so it being good is kind of negated by that. And you can see if you already own the vehicles, the gold compensation is actually really good. Alright, so now that we've gone over like what the event is, how you get stuff, and that you should definitely participate because it's just free tanks, let's look at some of the gameplay for the 50 TP prototype and the WT Ritter. So starting off with the proto, this thing reminds me of an IS-7. It's just a really aggressive heavy tank. You get good gun depression, you get good mobility, you get good armor, you get a good gun. Just everything about it is decent. There's not one single thing that's bad. And it doesn't suffer from like the E50M syndrome of not having a good feature. This thing pretty much dominates if you play it well. You technically only have 80 millimeters of hull armor, and you have a big driver's hatch as a weak point, and the lower plate's pretty big. But when you use your 8 degrees of gun depression, you kind of like angle it up so much that it's really hard for people to pen. So if you wiggle around, it's hard for people to go through. You're going to bounce a lot of shots doing that. And the armor's actually pretty effective in a face hug because of that too, if you know how to barrel block and all that. It's definitely not brain dead armor like the IS-7 where you can just sit in front of somebody and as long as you're not showing your lower plate, you're fine. You have to like use your brain, figure it out, make sure people bounce. But once you do that, you'll see in this replay, it does get a bunch of bounces. It is very effective. And before we move on from armor, the hold down armor profile is just, they're not going through. You're too quick, you can wiggle too much, and your gun is pretty accurate, so you can be out for like a split second to take a shot, and they're not going to pin your toe. It's just not happening. So this thing, hold down, super strong. If you have to expose the hull, it's not even that big of a deal just because of how it's built. So the armor side of things is really good, and it has super good mobility for how much armor it has as well. So the actual tank part is really good. Now the gun is actually really consistent for me. It does 440 average damage. So you do notice that it's not 460, but once you start using that tungsten, it goes up too. And you can't really go wrong with this thing. It's just so well-rounded and a good tank. You can see here, I face hug. The IS-3 blocks the SMV's ability to hit my driver's hatch, and they just both bounce because of the crazy angles. I only played 2 games in this tank, and I was trying to play super aggressive so that I could get like a good demonstration of its armor combined with its mobility. I don't know if you guys are paying attention to the game or the tank, but in the game you can see I drove straight into a crossfire at the beginning, and I'm still in one now. They haven't taken advantage of it as they should have, but you can see just how well it's performing under this much pressure. So if you had any hesitations about whether or not the 50 TP Proto is a good option, if you like heavy tanks, if you like mobile heavy tanks, this is really the way to go. If you're thinking that you're just going to sit out in front of somebody and block a whole bunch of shots, that's not really what's going to happen. But if you like hold down heavies, where you can move around the map and create crossfires, this is probably exactly the tank that you're looking for, and I definitely recommend it. Now the next tank, the WT Ritter. This thing is insanely good. It makes you hit shots that make you feel like you're hacking. It feels like you have aimbot when you aim in on this thing. The accuracy and the shell velocity is so insanely good. It's like a laser beam. So this gun is the whole highlight of the tank. You have no armor. You're kind of slow. Your gun depression over the front is really bad. Over the sides and rear, it's quite good. But the whole focus of this thing is the gun and the DPM. You can see you have a 7.8 second reload, and you do 460 damage. This thing gets 3,500 DPM, which is somewhere in the neighborhood of 500 DPM more than the Tech Tree one running the 128mm. So if you like the WT and you like running the 128, this is the one you should run. And then if you want to run the 150, just run the Tech Tree one. This is just straight up better in every way than the Tech Tree one with the 128. You get 0.272 accuracy with like a 3.5 second aim time or something like that. So your gun handling is great. Your camo's 67% stationary with camo net, so that's also has to be expected for a tier 9 tank destroyer like this. And you can see the HE shell even with spall liner on that guy is pretty effective. I know I said at the beginning the mobility isn't great. It's not super fast, but you can see here I'm still cruising along going forwards, hitting shots on the move and everything. It's not slow, it's just not super quick. It's the same kind of thing that you get with a Scorpion G, where you're quick in terms of the entire map, but if somebody wants to run up on you and shoot at you, you're not getting out of their way. You're not going to be able to go around a corner faster than a heavy tank will catch up to you or something. So you know, you can reposition and create crossfires very well, but if you make a mistake, I mean, just look at these shots through that window. This gun is amazing. But what I was saying, if you make a mistake and you know you get caught out and you need to run away, you can't rely on the mobility as a crutch. You can only really rely on the mobility as an enhancement to your gameplay to create crossfires, because it's not going to save you in a bad situation. And another reason I just love this tank so much is 460 alpha, I always say this, is like the perfect amount of damage per shot, because it's enough to where sometimes you'll roll 500, and when someone's taking 500 damage, that's almost all the time not a good trade for them, and you still have a quick enough reload where if you miss a shot, it's not that big of a deal. You see here I miss a shot, I'm already 5 seconds away from being able to have another one into him. It's just the perfect DPM and alpha damage combination, because if you go too high on the alpha and you miss a shot or something like that, and you can't really make up the lost time as easily. But if you go too low on damage, then you have to be exposed for too long, and while your DPM can be super high, you still have to poke out a whole bunch of times to get the damage out. With 460, you just need to poke at that right interval where if you want to go unspotted between every shot, you can, but if you want to also sit up front and just deal out a ton of damage, you still can do that. And I'm going to say this from a perspective of never having played the Tech Tree Waffenträger, but if you're looking for a cool tank destroyer with high DPM and no armor, this is like the best one that I've ever played. It's better than the Scorpion G for me. I still love the Canonian Jagdpanzer, but the Canonian Jagdpanzer is just a completely different animal than this. So if you want something that is like different and very good, I would 100% recommend this. I enjoy it more than I do the 50 TP. Watch this shot here. This is what I mean. It makes you feel like you're hacking. Like, in what world does that hit and kill him? But I think I enjoy this so much more than the 50 TP, because there's so many different heavy tanks you can play to get that fix of just a really strong heavy tank. But this is the only vehicle that's like this. The only thing close to it is the Scorpion G, and the Russian one for SU-130 PM. I don't have that one though, so I wouldn't know. Those two tanks are too low DPM compared to this. Like 3,500 DPM is insane to have 460 alpha. So this is at like a perfect spot where it's just something so unique and fun to play. I love this tank. So if you guys had to choose the tanks that are going to be available for this event, from the stats, I don't have it, I wouldn't know. I would pick the Bat Chat first. Obviously, I'm going to pick that one because it's the only one I don't have. If the Bat Chat turns out not being very good and it's just these three, I would go Ritter, 50 TP prototype, and then the 1357. If you can only get the 1357, I don't know how difficult this event is going to be. Definitely don't pass up on that opportunity because it's a great tank. It doesn't compare to like a Type 62 or anything, but it's so much fun to play. All these tanks are really good. Again, they're free, so if you guys are in a clan, play the event. If you're not in a clan, join a clan. This is multiple tier 9s for free, guys. It's just a no-brainer. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope this helps you make a decision during the event if you were looking into these two tanks. And have a great day, guys. Thanks for watching to the end.